My name is Carmen, and today we have a reading for you about somebody who has been, I think, able to keep a secret for a pretty long time because they were in a relationship. But now that a relationship is ending, there is this fear that whatever protection they had or whatever agreement they felt confident would result in somebody lying to cover up for what they do or how they act. Now it's no longer something they can rely on. So this could be somebody who feels like soon to be ex is potentially able to be a witness in some sort of court case or to speak out against them as far as some sort of custody. But this is like, oh no, my secrets, they're no longer protected because I'm no longer in this relationship. So let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime time. And I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. I missed you guys. Hello, how's it going, Key Controller? Hello, Hannah. It's good to be back. It was kind of a comedy of errors this morning, getting everything back where it needs to be, but we're here. And very excited. A huge thank you to the people who requested a personal reading but have been patient enough to allow me to do those today. Those are next on the docket. Hello, Sargab, how you doing? If you would like a personal reading, you can email me at wickedwandstarot@gmail.com. It's in the description box for you, as is more information on how to become a member. Thank you to the current members. We will be having a members only live stream, although I gotta be honest, since I'm just a little bit tired, it might be Wednesday instead of tomorrow. I will put up a post later today that clarifies when that will be. And also thank you to those that have checked out my candles on Etsy. That is also in the description box for you. I think we'll start today with the Witch's Tarot. Let's see what else we've got on this person who has anxiety and stress over whether or not their secret is going to come out. Sounds like it will. What else do we need to know? The High Priest and the Lovers in the reverse. Yeah, I think this is going to be about someone who was, you know, kind of on a pedestal or seen as like a community pillar, very respectable, had a great little family, whatever it is. But the problem is this person was not faithful. This person wanted to be seen as like how it should be done, but they didn't want to do it the way it should be done. Hello, Steven. How are you doing? Hello, Sal. How's your day? Hey, Sal. If you want to be in my live chat, don't ever tell me what to do with my hair. Just like ever. Hello, Imran. How are you doing? What else do we have? The Queen of Swords and the Princess of Pentacles, which is the Page of Pentacles. Yeah, there's a divorce or a breakup, and because of this relationship ending, there is like an expectation that there's going to be some chatter, there's going to be some questions about what happened and with whom, what was said. Page of Pentacles. I feel like this is someone saying there was a new relationship started and that's why this relationship ended. But the anxious individual is hoping maybe if I speak before the other person does, before my ex does, maybe I can like minimize the fallout. Maybe I can make it seem like, you know, you can't blame me or you would have done the same thing, right? I think this is someone who was lying about the circumstances of their relationship, trying to make it sound like it was just awful. In reality, there were things they could have done to improve the situation in their relationship, and they chose not to. Instead, they chose to distract themselves with somebody else, with a third party. But it's like they're doing that. I didn't do it. It wasn't me. Okay. And if I did do it, it wasn't my fault. Like everybody else would have done the same thing. Hello, Nat Nat. How are you doing? Hello, Christina. How's your day? I missed y'all. What else do we have? What is this, the 5? No, the 6 of Pentacles. 6 of Pentacles talks about like equal give and take and partnership. Ooh, and the Seeker. So while promising that they were going to do what they could to improve upon their existing relationship, maybe even including going to counseling or, you know, reading some self-help books or some books on love and respect. At the same time, this person was also looking for a new relationship, probably on like dating apps or, you know, out and about at the most reputable of bars, of course. Hello, Reshma. How are you doing? What else do we have? We have the 9 of Pentacles and the 7 of Swords. This is such an interesting 7 of Swords because they're all stacked in the bottom of the card. Like they're all neat and organized, which is a little unusual because I would say generally you have 5 swords being carried away by a person and 2 being left behind, kind of to indicate that you've got some lack of cover up or your evidence is still out there. People can see what you're doing. In this instance, I feel like instead what we have is somebody whose intuition noticed a pattern in behavior, and it's like, I can predict that you're probably about to lie to me because of what you just did in the last 60 seconds. So we have someone who's observed behavior long enough to know what it means. And I feel like this relationship has ended because the Queen of Swords was able to figure out you're still doing what you said that you weren't going to do. 5 of Wands, there's still competition. You're still investing with somebody else. Why can't you just be happy with what you have in front of you? Why do you have to always be looking for something different, right? Even as you're claiming to want to work on the relationship and fix the problems here, you're still causing. So I can't show you this card because it's too much nudity. But this is the Strength card. And I do feel like this is someone who has maybe got a little bit of an addiction, or someone who felt like they could leverage physical intimacy to keep you stuck in a relationship, and that's not working out. Remember, the Queen of Swords does not need to be a woman. The Queen of Swords is merely a card that represents that we have somebody who had to deploy their boundaries or leverage their powers of observation to understand what decision was right for them regarding that relationship. And it sure seems like the decision was, you know what, I think I could find someone better. I think that this is somebody who's a little bit too caught up in the physical intimacy part of connections and maybe is a little bit too dependent on external validation. Therefore, maybe I need to go my own way. Hey, the one, if this isn't for you, feel free to bounce. If not, I hope, you know, you find some fun people in the live chat that you can chat with. But it does seem like you're being a little bit disrespectful, and I would just encourage you to find something you do like. Oh, I missed you too, Rachel. How you doing? Hello, Jose. Aw, I hope you know poker better than that. We have the Ace of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands. Yeah, this is someone who's saying, I've I've communicated what I needed to, I've expressed what needed to change, or I defended this relationship the way that I knew how. I thought that we could find a way to make this work long term. But if you're just going to be doing the same old over and over again, then I think I'm just going to like see myself out. Toodles. Thanks, but no thanks. This is the Gold Foil Tarot. Oh, that's so funny. I got delayed starting this live stream because I was waiting for the washing machine to stop. It makes such like ridiculous noises at the end of the cycle, you know? Hey, caretaker, if you get messages and I get messages, can we like maybe just be friends? I'm putting you in a 24-hour timeout because it would be really cool if you could just like take a Socratic method approach and ask questions about what people believe before you make assumptions. If you'd like to come back, we could maybe have a chat about that, but I really don't like when people come at me with the like, you're going to hell. Hello, Joshua Tree, how you doing? Hello, Jay Somerville, how you doing? I hope you guys are having a good day. Oh my, okay. 8 of Wands in the reverse, Queen of Wands in the reverse. I think we have someone who's freaking out because they don't know how this Queen of Swords figured out their secret. Like, I thought this time I did a really good job of hiding what I was getting into. I thought this time I had been able to keep it a secret and my spouse would not be able to figure out that I was, you know, at it again. How did they figure it out? This is someone who's like, oh, I used a different phone, or I used a different app, or I went to a different zip code. How could you possibly find out? And I want to tell you right now, I don't think it's like I saw a text message or I saw like, you know, a charge on your credit card. I think it's more so like you just act different and I can tell. It doesn't have to be something concrete. I know you well enough to see the little like shifts in your personality or in your random behaviors to know that you're like weird about something. Yeah, 6 of Cups, Page of Wands in the reverse. You say something without saying anything at all. When you know someone that well and, you know, they start avoiding eye contact or they're just kind of like short when they're answering questions. This is someone who picked up on the little details, the little changes that meant, okay, so it's happening again and you don't actually want to change what has been a problem in our relationship. There's a lack of self-control and little like clues that this person's losing control that the Queen of Swords picked up on. So if you're not working on it, or if you say you are and then you're actually lying about it, why would I stay around if you can't even be honest about that? Hello, it's me. How are you doing? Hello, Zach. How are you doing? What else do we have? The Fool in the reverse. The Hermit. And the 6 of Pentacles. So we have the 6 of Pentacles at the beginning. I do think that this is somebody who is meant to be doing something to make up for previous problems. I was, you know, not reliable, or I was dishonest, or I was disloyal to you in the past. We are going to counseling, or we're talking through things, or, you know, repairing what has been broken so that we can find a way to make this relationship last. And then this person finds out you're doing it again. So I think that's part of why there's this like underscoring of, okay, so you're not going to change, or you're not actually interested in doing right by this relationship. It was all just like an illusion meant to keep me in the relationship without you having to actually change your behavior. So we have somebody who, it's like they're moving beyond hurt and now they're fully in the angry stage. Now it's like, oh, you think I'm stupid, right? You think I'm just like not gonna pick up on any of this? You think I'm just gonna be like, la 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 la, la 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 la. Love is so great. I trust everything you say. Nope. This person's looking at them, recognizing the signs, and thinking, if this is as good as it gets with you, then I think I'm happier on my own. Like, I'd probably be happier with a bag of Twizzlers. Hello, Barracuda. How are you doing? Hello, James. How's your day? Hello, Ike. Ooh, thank you for mentioning that. I did actually, well, I should have written down the question is what I should have done. I did actually get an email from Skemmy and told him I would keep an eye out for him in the next couple of live streams because I do owe him that. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Zach, you said you emailed me about it? Oh, no, I totally appreciate it. Thank you. So we've got the King of Cups in the reverse. Oh. Yeah, see, this is what I was seeing with the, we've moved out of the you've hurt me phase into the, now I'm just angry. Now I don't even really feel the lovey-dovey feelings. Now it's just kind of like, why am I wasting time here? Why am I signing up to hang out with somebody like you? So a desire perhaps to rethink how they approach relationships and a little bit of like, you know, almost like reckless behavior. Like, if I say something and you don't like it, that's okay now because I don't have to worry about getting back together. I'm going to tell people what actually happened. And what actually happened was a side, can I just say side hoe? Am I going to get in trouble for that? A garden tool, you guys. Hello, B. How are you doing? Hello, Hack. How are you doing? So we have children, young, childhood, playful, and toxic, unhealthy behaviors and people. So part of the issue here is we have somebody who is avoiding their responsibilities, whether that's fiduciary or taking care of a family or mowing the lawn, doing the dishes. Whatever this is, we've got somebody who's kind of escaping all those responsibilities, or at least, you know, some of the major ones, because they have these behaviors they'd rather be indulging in. Acting like they're single when they're really not. Waves, emotions coming and going, and focused. Eyes for you, fascinated and watching. This is someone who got caught up with, they got caught up in a side relationship with a person who has obsessive tendencies. So this could be someone who's a bit of a stalker. This could be somebody who likes to break up relationships. But the toxic energy is definitely part of why this person is so anxious and why they feel like their life is kind of falling apart right now. So they chose to go out with or, you know, get naked with this toxic individual and avoid the responsibilities from their commitments or their long-term relationship. But their car or their phone, maybe their GPS location, something here has caused some issues in the past where there was like a conversation that looked a little bit like an intervention. If you want to stay in this relationship, you're going to have to do X, Y, and Z. That way I know what's going on, or I know that you're, you know, making an effort. But these things were not followed. So it's like I said earlier, you've already done these things multiple times. So to do them again, it's kind of like a throwing the papers up in the air, like, okay, well, screw this then. What are we trying to do here? What are we really going for? Hello, Harold. I hope the reading resonates for you. Otherwise, I do personal questions after the general reading. Hello, Carrie. Hello, CJ. How you doing? Hello, Vic. How's your day? No worries, Barracuda. Remember, these are general readings, so not every detail will apply to your situation. Just take whatever resonates and leave the rest of it, okay? What else do we have? Two of Pentacles, Judgment in the reverse, and the Star. So since it seems like you're always going to be balancing two people, or you're always going to be stepping out on a relationship, it's just kind of like who you are, then the only way I can heal from this is if I end the relationship. So our Queen of Swords is saying, you ain't it. Like, I can't feel good about this when I'm putting up with the behavior that you consistently offer. Hey, Flower, how are you doing? Going through EMDR. Oh, I'm so sad to hear that. What do I need to hear right now? What do I need to hear right now? Going to doc tomorrow. Don't know if she's going to keep me not going to work. And you're feeling Thomas's energy. I've added that for you. Thank you, Flower. Yep, exactly. Oh, of course. I agree with that. In fact, I would argue that negative circumstances can be what craft you or sculpt you into being the best version of yourself. I think some of the most interesting people or the most compassionate people are those that have gone through like really difficult things, unfair things, right? What else do we have? Hello, Olivia. How are you doing? We have the Four of Cups in the reverse and the Four of Wands in the reverse with the Ten of Wands in the reverse. You can't break up with me. If you break up with me, then everybody's going to be asking me questions, or everyone's going to assume I'm the problem. You can't break up with me. I have like a major press tour, or I've got an album dropping. You can't do that. It's not a good time for a breakup. You're going to have to like reschedule that with my secretary. How about no? Ten of Swords in the reverse and the Tree of Life. So the Tree of Life is an extra card in this particular tarot deck, and it talks about spiritual awakening. This is saying we've got the Queen of Swords going through a spiritual awakening, realizing I can only go so far as a person, as a human, if this is, you know, what I'm willing to put up with for a relationship. This person holds me back. Maybe that's a little bit brutal or unkind for some to think or say, but in reality, there are people out there that can hold you back from becoming who you are meant to be. And there are also plenty of people out there who encourage it or act as a catalyst for you to become that person. I think we've got a Queen of Swords who's saying, I've had enough. This is enough for me. I'm good. No, thank you. If this was, you know, bottomless margaritas, you got sick of margaritas and you're done. Thanks, but no. Hello, Mama Duck. How are you doing? So we've got the Three of Swords, the Six of Wands, and the Four of Pentacles. So this person wants me to hide my heartbreak or pretend that everything is fine. Smile for the pictures, right? Like, yeah, everything's great. But they're not happy. They've had to hold back the sense of frustration or neglect, feeling like they don't really get what they need from this relationship, or they can't trust the person that they're, you know, married to or living with. And I feel like if you can't trust that person, that's pretty limiting, right? So we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and the Seven of Cups. Just don't say anything about the breakup for like 3 more weeks and I'll pay you like $50,000. Just don't tell anyone what really happened for 6 weeks and I'll give you a percentage of the revenue that I earn. This is someone who's thinking about money and reputation and what will everybody say. Just let me get past this certain benchmark or this timeline and then you can talk about it. I just don't want people to know that I'm that awful a person until they've already spent their money on my latest thingy. How moral of you. That's wonderful. This is the Morgan Greer. Hey Hooks, how we doing today? Hello, Baby Yoda. What else do we have? Death in the reverse, the Star, King of Swords, and the Four of Pentacles. I'm telling you, this is like, don't tell anyone that we're broken up. I just need everyone to think that my life is like perfect and fine and you love me until after the movie showing, you know, until after I've done my book tour. Just, you know, I don't want people asking questions. I don't want people to look at me differently. And, you know, as soon as you say something, they won't leave you alone either. And I'm sure you don't want to be hounded like that. I'm sure you don't want TMZ parked out in your front yard. This is someone who's trying to like rationalize, like just shh, don't talk about it. I know that you're upset and I'm upset that it went this way too, but I just need you to hush up. Just zip it. Knight of Swords and the reverse and the Ace of Swords. Sometimes when you tell people not to talk about things, they end up talking about those things. That which is forbidden has its secret charm, right? Yeah, I don't know. I promised my ex that I would be quiet, or I promised my ex that I wouldn't tell anyone what really happened or what we were fighting about, but it's such a good story. Maybe I should tell people. Two of Pentacles, weighing the decision. If I tell people, this happens. If I don't tell people, this happens. What should I do? Four of Swords in the reverse. Oh gosh. Seven of Pentacles and the Eight of Cups. I feel like this is someone who decides to leave like a little note or a little picture of something where it will be found and then walks away. So it's like they're not going to sit here and talk at length about how horrible their ex is. They're just going to leave some token that makes it very clear what was going on. It could even just be they leave their wedding ring on the table. But this is someone who's saying something without saying anything at all. If that makes sense. Because they're not supposed to say anything, but they also want to make it clear, like, things have changed. And you might have questions for me in the near future. Hello, Delinia, how are you doing? Yes, thank you for liking and subscribing. That means a lot to me. Hello, Erin. This is the Spanish Tarot, by the way. Death. That was the first card from the last one, too. Judgment in the reverse. Nine of Swords in the reverse. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think this is someone who's leaking a story on purpose. Like, yeah, I was told I can't say anything. I guess I'll just have to whisper it really loudly next to somebody who works at a newspaper. It's like, technically, I didn't break any rules. I was talking on my own property and someone overheard me. What can I do about that? I didn't know that that's what was going to happen. Whoops. Wheel of Fortune in the reverse, Queen of Pentacles. So there's impact to somebody's financial security or success because this detail or details about a relationship ending come out and make it really clear that the King of Swords doesn't have to be a man. Was not a very good partner. Was unreliable and unfaithful. Three of Pentacles in the reverse. Tower in the reverse. Strength and the King of Wands. So we have someone who wanted to like control an announcement and make it seem like things were done in the right order or in the right timing. You know, that breakup happened and then I took some time for myself and then, oh golly gee, would you believe it? I fell in love just like a week later. Isn't that crazy? But now this person's lost control over the narrative and people are asking them questions like, oh, so when did you start seeing this new person and were you aware that you're already married? At the time that you were seeing this person, did you remember, you knew you were married, right? Like they don't want to talk about how they didn't do right by this person. They only want to talk about things that make them look good. Nine of Wands in the reverse, Ace of Swords, and the Knight of Pentacles. Yeah, this is someone who's trying to time things differently and make it seem like they were single for a time before they got into the newest relationship. But the secret is not kept secret. The truth comes out, and now they're like haphazardly trying to explain their actions now that people see they didn't wait until their relationship was over. They were already scouting for somebody new, or they got pretty invested in a new relationship while they were still with someone else, probably in a relationship that was like marriage level. Hey, Vic, you want to put a little bit more thought into your comments? That would be great. I would appreciate it. All right. This is the romantic Lenormand. Let's see what else we got. And then we need to start on personal questions. What else do we have? The dog, number 18, loyalty, and lilies. So there is a very strong reputation that this Queen of Swords has for being a loyal friend or a loyal partner, and it is a strong contrast to that of the King of Swords, their partner. There are people who view the Queen of Swords as having gone out of their way to be faithful or try to make peace with this King of Swords, even though it seemed like things were not very fair or were kind of stacked against this Queen of Swords. Ship number 3. So there was travel that happened, and this could be part of what led to an argument or a breakdown. The distance led to a change in behavior, but also probably some opportunity to make those decisions. All right, we're already at 35 minutes, so we're gonna start with personal questions, and we've got Flower. What is it that Flower needs to know or needs to hear right now? You're welcome, Rachel. Thank you, Alyssa. That's very kind of you. And Alyssa, just so you know, I do have a second channel where I read from regular old books. I do have a fascination with Edgar Allan Poe, so that would be one of the featured authors. But that is linked in the description box, and it is not monetized, so you don't have to deal with ads. All right, so what is it that Flower needs to hear, please? Queen of Swords in the reverse. 10 of Cups in the reverse, and the High Priest. There's someone who's talking ill of you, someone who knows that you're not welcome around that particular place or in those circles anymore. So they feel emboldened to talk about you negatively. But whoever this Queen of Swords in the reverse is, could be an ex, they have been met with somebody who was genuinely defending your honor or your character. So if someone's trying to exaggerate something about you to make it sound like a negative quality about you or a problem, this is somebody who called them out for exaggerating it and said something along the lines of, everybody knows that that person tells the truth. Everybody knows that if they're going to do something to mess up, it sure isn't going to be that. They get called out for talking about you negatively because this is a characteristic of yours that is known pretty clearly by most people who know you. So you're defended in a room where you are not expected to show up by a person that you might be surprised to hear had defended you. We've got the Knight of Cups and the Three of Wands. Someone who takes action, not because they feel like it would benefit them in any way to defend your name, but because they feel it's the right thing to do. The Chariot, the Devil, and the Five of Pentacles. There could be some mention of, it's not fair. That person's not even here to be able to defend themselves. But of course, that's how you're choosing to do this. And this person who's defending you, you may have even at some point considered them to be kind of like not your favorite. But they are a person of integrity, and they feel that somebody is not being fair or trying to make you look worse than you are. It's like they're saying, look, you want to pick on that person, that's fine, but they got like 3 other qualities you could have picked up on that would have been a lot more effective for you to talk about, but instead you went and chose the one thing that we all know they're really good at. Like, do better. All right, so there's a doctor appointment tomorrow, trying to figure out whether or not to go back to work. What does Flower need to know about this? The Moon in the reverse, Strength, and 8 of Swords in the reverse. This feels to me like you might hear that your body has recovered faster than expected or is in a better state than expected. Either you got some real good genes or you've been taking good care of yourself. It could be both. But I do feel like you're going to get a good report tomorrow. Is there anything hiding that Flower needs to be concerned of? Six of Wands, Four of Pentacles. Yes, you are healing or things are progressing better than you expected, but don't expect that to mean that everything is fine. You still have to be a little bit cautious. Don't overdo it. You know what I mean? Make sure that you have some respect for what needs to happen before you are feeling like 100%. And what does Flower need to know regarding Thomas's energy and feeling that energy around her? King of Wands in the reverse. Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. Trying to think of how to say this. Let's say there is a horizontal mambo that takes place for Thomas. There could be a horizontal mambo, but someone's really thinking of a different dance. You know what I mean? Thinking of you instead. I think you might be feeling some energy that is kind of like sexual magic. I think this is somebody who's thinking about you at very precise moments. Very precise. And yet all over the place. This person is looking to distract themselves, but still thinking about you. I'll keep an eye out. Oh, the timing. Skemmy, is this the question? Excellent, excellent. This is perfect timing. Flower, I'm sending you a big old hug. I wish I could send you cheese without it costing me like $300. But if all of you could use your manifestation powers to somehow send a little bit of cheese to Flower so that she somehow magically happens upon like a free wheel of cheese, I think that would be excellent and a good use of our energy. All right, we're gonna answer Skemmy's question. There's a girl I really like, but I'm worried since I haven't heard from her since yesterday. I know she said she got into, oh, that's so sad. I hope she's okay. Oh, that's so sweet. All right, so let's see what we can get for an update on Skemmy. The girl he's into has gotten into a car accident. How does she view Skemmy? How does she view Skemmy? This is kind of funny. At first, it was like a, no. I'm chuckling because there have been times where I may have been a little bit too vocal about my lack of interest in someone. I feel like this is somebody who initially was like, not about it, not into you. And then there was something you said that like flipped the script. And then all of a sudden it's like, actually, that's kind of hot. Could you put that mask back on? No, I'm just kidding. It's like, all of a sudden this person's like, I didn't know that I could be so attracted to you, but I guess I am. There was a change up. And disinterest turns to question marks like, oh, you know what? I think actually this could work. So we have Temperance that came out sideways, which with the Eight of Wands is telling me this is somebody who wants to get to know you, somebody who wants to talk to you more, to understand how they actually feel, because they feel like they read the situation wrong initially or read you wrong initially, right? Oh, I hope you're feeling better. I love you too, Flower. So will there be some flirtation and some getting to know each other? Not initially. We got to respect a little bit of space. I do feel like this is somebody who needs to heal a little bit. And if you press the issue, it might push her away. Does she want to get to know him, though? She's nervous about it. 8 of Cups in the reverse, the Hermit in the reverse. There's something about you that is coming through as a red flag. What's the red flag? Ten of Swords, 7 of Wands. It could be you move on too quickly after a previous situation and she feels like you need more time, or she hasn't had enough time to get over the last relationship. But it does feel to me like pacing or time is really important, and you don't want to rush this because then there could be some issues. Will she come back around? She's worried about this. I don't know. Did she lie? She lied to you about something. I think she exaggerated to make it seem like something was more serious than it was. But also may have lied to you about whether or not is she in a relationship? Let's just ask that real quick. No. Was she very recently? Yes. Queen of Swords, the X card. I think she has very recently ended a relationship, or that relationship ended very recently, right? Okay, so what else does Skemmy need to know? Because today feels a little bit off for Skemmy. Aw, Ace of Cups. Even on the difficult days, we got to be able to remember what makes us lovable. Eight of Pentacles, Knight of Swords, and the Moon in the reverse. No one's perfect. Nobody is blameless. Nobody is without sin. Everybody's told a really dumb joke before. Most people have farted at the worst moment possible, probably like an interview. This is just saying, like, don't be so harsh on yourself. Yeah, there's going to be little F-ups here and there, or there's going to be moments where you're like, did I really just say that? It's okay. What is important is that you are investing your time towards becoming a better person. And this Eight of Pentacles is saying you've done a good job of that. Don't give up on that. Do not reallocate energy away from that, right? If you're still focused on that, that's your grounding energy. So you started a fight, or you said something a little bit out there, doesn't mean you're evil. Devil in the reverse. We can just, you know, learn from the situation and move forward, right? Yeah. Yeah. I would be just a little bit cautious. I don't get a lot of like, I want to be good to you type of energy. So I wouldn't get too focused on this one, because I do feel like there's still someone else in her energy and she's not being honest with you about it. Which seems like an important thing if you want to have a relationship with somebody, right? Like, hey, can you, I don't know, just like be honest about whether or not you're like dating somebody? Yeah? Could we do that? All right, I'm gonna leave it there. I love you all. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscribes. It's good to be back today, and I will see you on the next reading. Toodles.